Oh, welcome to Pilates. I am going to record on both devices just in case. So you may have to press OK. All right, mindful Pilates. Let's begin with some water. And of course, Izzy wants to come in right when we start. Come on in. All right, as you move like water, I want you to feel the center channel of your body. Everybody place your heart on your sternum. Feel the movement back and forth. Continue. Fluid breath. Feel how the sternum, one hand on your sternum, moves back and forth. How does it move in relationship to your center pelvis? Put your hand, your other hand, on your lower dantian, below your belly button here. So one hand on your sternum, one hand on your belly. And feel, how does your sternum move in relationship to that area, kind of center of your pelvis? Is there a stretch away and then a kind of rebound back? Switch hands. Does the hand on your heart get to move a little farther? That's what's happening with me. Fluid breath, feeling into your body. Now, place your tongue on the center palate. How does the center palate move in relationship to heart and pelvis? And you may notice that the heart moves out away, but the center palate tries to stay balanced over the pelvis. Is that happening for you? Because our spine moves in a wave-like motion. Now let your hands go and let yourself float. And let's see if we can find that bit of a bounce Sherry was talking about at the beginning of class. That fluid, bouncy motion. Because you know your spine is kind of able to move in this sinuous way that can sling us a little bit side to side. Keep going. Fluid breath. I think sometimes Izzy's jealous of you, so she goes and gets the noisiest bone possible to chew during class. Let your feet land and your arms lift skyward. Now feel what happens to your spine right around the shoulder girdle. As your arms lift and as they lower, what happens at the neck? And is there a way to make this movement spacious where it doesn't cramp up your neck, or it allows for a stretch in the thoracic spine? Because Pilates wanted us to have an open and fluid spine. Let your hands come down. Lift the arms. So you're feeling into the cross beam of the shoulders and how it affects the thoracic spine and the neck. Now, if you let the head of the arm bones release down as the wrists come up, does that give your neck more space? Can you still stretch along the thoracic spine of the rib cage? So I'm asking you to pay close attention to the neck, shoulder girdle, and spine of the rib cage. And then release your arms down, stepping heels under sit bones. Let your arms swing around the body. Now feel for the movement of your center channel. If it feels like there are catches along the center channel, ask yourself why. Where is the tightness? And how could I get into that tightness and release the tissue? Could I do it by lengthening the spine in this gentle twisting action, twisting a little less? Could I bend my knees and let my hips bounce? Or maybe release the shoulders and arms so the neck can lengthen. Play with how to create a little more freedom even if you're just doing a gentle twist. Those of you with scoliosis knowing that because of your sideways curves, this may be more of a challenge. And you may find it easier to step one foot in front of the other for more fluid motion. So everybody play with where you are in space, what allows the spine to be fluid. Right now we're looking for a fluid channel. So it might be that you step your feet a little differently, and we just experiment with a continual gentle swinging of the arms, looking for, where is the whole channel fluid? Is it more fluid if you really let go the arms? Is it more fluid if you let go the jaw? Relax the eyes. Lift the base of the skull. And then come to center. Stand in a Tadasana and hug your arms against your side bodies. Open broad across your collar. Now from your side legs, pat the outer edges of your legs, hug in towards midline. And feel how you can create banks of the river, especially in your glutes, but up your sideways, even at your shoulders, down your legs to the outer edges of your feet. Root your tail, lengthen the center channel. And keeping those banks to your river, lift one toe, let your arms come out. And lift the knee and tap 2, 3, 4, and 5, and step down. Lift to the other toe. Keep the banks of your river alive. Lengthen the waistline. Lift at the armpits. Hug in the shoulders. And tap 2, 3, 4, and 5, and step down. Okay, let's move to the wall. Bring the head of the arm bones back, the humerus bones against the wall. I have to take off my hairband. Feel for the breath out from the center channel across your shoulders. See if you can press your buttocks a little against the wall. Feel for your sacrum resting back, the arrowhead of your sacrum. And then rooting into both feet, lengthen through the crown. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen the center channel. Keep going with this, inhaling three-dimensionally. Exhaling up along the center channel with a lift of the pelvic floor as you root your feet and lengthen through the crown. Broad shoulders resting back. Gently hugging the banks of your river. That's not a gripping, it's a hug. A lengthening of the center channel as you feel the banks of your river. Lift to one toe. Lift the knee. And tap 2, 3, 4, and 5, and step down. Cross to the other foot. Lift to the toe. Take an inhale. Exhale through your straw. Feel for that center channel. Lift the knee. And 1, 2, 3, 4, and step down. And release the arms. Bring the fingernails back to the wall. Bring the heels back to the wall. Now, reach the tailbone down for the corner where wall meets floor as you lean the heart away from the wall. Don't overarch the ribs. Find that center channel. Root the tailbone. Take an inhale. Exhale through your straw. Lengthen the whole sinuous, curvy spine as you hug in the banks of your river and lift the heart. Lift the gaze. Do this work without hyperextending the knees. Banks of the river hug in. The heels ground. The base of the skull lifts. We lengthen that center channel. Feel up the front of the center channel. Through the neck. Feel up the sides of the center channel. Feel up the back of the center channel. And walk away from the wall. Turn around and walk back to the wall. Lift your fingers high, wider than your shoulders. Come onto the balls of your feet and slowly lower your heels. Stretch the spine, create space along the center channel. Take a deep inhale. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen the center channel. Come up onto the balls of your feet again, fingers high. Exhale, stretch the spine as you lower the heels. Really find a stretch, a release. Pelvis heavy, lengthen the lumbar and the waistline. As the heels come down, take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw, draw the pelvic floor up, lengthen up the center channel. One more time, fingers up the wall. Exhale, lengthen the spine as you lower the pelvis, lower the heels. Take a deep inhale. Exhale through your straw. Lengthen, lift the pelvic floor. Feel for the hug of the transverse abdominis. And release your hands down the wall. Step back into your half dog. Remember, your fingertips can be higher. You could be at an angle. Half dog could be more like downward dog on the wall. What you want is your long spine and its neutral curves. Feel for that. Some of you will have the hamstring opening and hip opening to come to parallel with the floor. Some won't. Keep your head and neck above your arm bones and float one leg up behind you. Take an inhale. Feel the 3 dimensions of your torso. Exhale. Feel the lift of the pelvic floor into the body. Lengthen the center channel through the crown. Some of you may be able to float your fingertips off the wall. Fingertips on the wall. Step in. Hands at shoulder height. Stand in your Tadasana. Rest your head back. Imagine you're resting your body back into robot arms with your back at the wall. Actually, everybody step out. Come into robot arms. Just have your fingertips on the wall. Have your shoulders against the imaginary wall behind you. The humerus bones back against the wall behind you. Your back against the wall behind you. Hug in the banks of your river. Take a deep 3-dimensional inhale. Exhale, root the tailbone, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen the whole channel of the spine. Lift to one toe. Lift the knee. It may tap the wall gently, tap the toe. 3, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Step down. Feel the banks of your river, hug in. Just fingertips lightly on the wall. Keep that wall at your back. Lift to the toe. Lift the knee. Keep the wall at your back. Take a deep 3-dimensional inhale. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen the spine, tap. 2, 3, 4, and 5, and step down. Hands on the wall at shoulder height. Let's move out so that our arms are long. Release your shoulders broad and lengthen the neck. Banks of the river, hug in, root into the 4 corners of your feet. Keep the pubic bone and tailbone level and lift the heart. Lift the heart, come into a gentle back bend. Lengthen, lifting your navel ring, your lower rib ring, your chest ring. Lift the heart, lengthen the neck. Oh, find that whole channel of the spine, but also find the banks of your river. Your fingertips can hug down the wall slightly to help you lift the heart. Lift the back of the heart as well as the front of the heart, the base of the back of the skull. And release. Bring your hands back up the wall. Fingertips glued to the wall, slowly lower your heels. Stretch the spine. When your heels get to the floor, take a 3-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw, lift the pelvic floor. Hug in the banks of your river, lengthen the spine. Let the hands come down the wall and step back. Lift the next foot behind you. Lengthen from fingertips to stretched out sole of the foot. Take a deep 3-dimensional inhale. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor into the body, lengthen the whole channel of the spine. Broaden your collar. Maybe your fingertips are lightly on the wall now. Maybe they come off. Feel into that center channel and release. Walk into the wall, robot arms, fingertips touching. Let your back body lean against the wall behind you. Take a deep 3-dimensional inhale. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen the spine, grow taller as you root the legs. Lift to one toe, turn the knee out to the side. So here I am, you're like here. And you're going to lift. My fingertips are on the wall, right? I'm turning my leg out and I'm going to tap 2, 3, 4, and 5. Think of that wall behind you. Some of you are dropping your head forward. Lift the sternum. Lift to the other toe. Stand strong. Turn the knee out. Hug in the banks of your river. Lengthen through the crown. Don't drop the head forward. Maybe you even look up. Lift the heart slightly. As the knees turned out, lift the toe and tap. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Beautiful. Turn in and step down. Come back to your mat and let's lay down on the floor. Please have your ball, your long TheraBand, and your hand weights ready for the rest of practice. Let's also bring in a yoga block. Some of you would rather have a yoga block than a ball. And lie down. Lie down and let your head rest against the blanket. Let your arms open wide, palms up. Now your back is against the floor. Bring your fingers back and feel for the neutral cervical curve. Bring your gaze perpendicular to the floor. Arms broad now, palms up. Float one leg to tabletop. Float it down light as a feather. Take a deep inhale. Exhale through your straw. Lengthen the spine. Feel the strength around the column. Float up the next leg. Inhale it down. Exhale. One leg floats and lowers. As you exhale, the pelvic floor lifts. As you inhale, you still feel the length and strength of the spine. Exhale and inhale. Broad shoulders, broad pelvis. Awareness in the center channel. Can you keep your lumbar curve, your cervical curve? And float one leg up. Some of you may need a blanket under your pelvis. Float the other leg up. Hands to the femurs. Press the hands into the femurs. Pull the femurs towards the chest. Can you do this without scrunching the spine? Maybe hugging in the banks of the river will help. Keep your neutral curves, but press and pull. Activate your abdominal core. Do this at a level of effort where you can keep the spine long. Feel how you're strengthening the core anyway. You don't always have to work at 120%. Fluid breath, long, spacious, strengthening spine. And hug the knees in and circle them wide and back together again. Fluid breath. Take the circles the other way. Fluid breath. Feel into your center channel. And hug the right knee in, lengthen the left leg out. Now make sure you're not hitching the right hip towards the right armpit. Keep both banks of the river long. Hug them towards midline, especially at the hips to keep the hips stable. Point your toes. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw. Find that lift to the pelvic floor, that lengthening of the spine. Nod nose towards mouth. Almost lift from your hairline. Feel how that can help you lengthen the neck. Some of you will float the head up, keep lengthening the spine, and switch, and switch, and switch. The hips stay level across on the floor. You're not hitching one hip and then the other. You're keeping the spine long in the waistline as we reach and reach and reach. It's beautiful. It's precise. The legs go out from that midline. Remember how we zip the legs together. You're moving along the center channel between the legs. And hug both knees in. Reach hands and feet for the sky. Zip up the inner thighs. Hug in the banks of the river. Now with the legs active, like their muscle and tissue is all hugging towards the bone, lower the legs away from the wrists. Feel how that supports the legs. Circle the arms and hug the knees in. Keep the heels glued together. Even as you hug the knees in, zip the legs together as you extend them out. Find that center channel up the legs and through the spine, all the way through the crown of the head, through the fontanelle. One more time. Reach hands away from wrists and hug in. Now reach for your ball. Bring your right leg overhead in your scissor, your left leg long, and bring the ball around from the right hand to the left and switch. Left hand to the right and switch and switch and switch. Now, even as you use the ball, which could be distracting, I want you to think of those legs scissoring around their center channel, along their center channel. Nod your nose towards your mouth. Keep thinking of lengthening the spine out the crown. Almost lift the head from the hairline. Some of you will lift, and we keep moving the ball around the front leg. But we're conscious of that center channel, down the legs and through the spine, even as we play with the ball. Beautiful. Come back to center. Bend your knees and float one leg to the floor and then the other. Place the ball between your knees. Arms open wide. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale out through your pursed lips. Hug in the banks of your river. Lift the pelvic floor into the body and pulse the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hold. Straighten the right leg. Keep the knees even. And pulse the ball. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hold. Broaden your shoulders on the mat. Lift your head and lengthen it away from the shoulders. Think of lengthening the spine even as you hug these legs together. Feel the midline from the legs all the way up the center channel through your crown. And bend the knee. Place that foot on the floor, straighten the other side. And pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And hold. Shoulders broad and relax back while you hug in the banks of the river from the armpits down to the feet. Take a three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw. Lift the pelvic floor into the body. Lengthen the spine even more. Bend the straight leg, foot on the floor, and pulse. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and hold. Turn your palms towards the floor. Lightly touch the palms down and lift them an inch off the floor, 2 inches off the floor. And begin to pat the water with your hands. You're still hugging in the banks of the river. You're still hugging the ball. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now pulse the ball, pat the hands. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pause and hold the ball. Nod your nose towards your mouth, almost lift from your hairline, and inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want to lift the head, do. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5. And rest the head back down. Release the ball into your hands. Float one leg to tabletop, the second leg to tabletop. Hug your legs together, lift the ball towards the sky in your hands. And take the ball overhead as you take the knees away from the wrists. Exhale, come back in and tap the shins with the ball. Inhale, out, and exhale in. Hugging in the banks of your river. Hugging in around the whole circumference of the legs. So the backs of the legs hug up as you lower the tilt towards the floor. Keep that center channel in mind. Feel how you're moving with the aid of that center channel as your center. Nodding nose towards mouth, almost lift from the hairline. Some of you may lift the head. Tap and open, tap and open, tap and open, tap and open. Now come up. Place the ball between your shins or your ankles and lowering the head back down. Take feet away from hands. Now the legs could be a little longer. They may even be straight. And we open the arms and come back in. Do the work where it's best for you. Keep thinking of your low ribs hugging towards your hip pointers to keep your square. See if you can maintain your neutral curve. So if you need to bend your knees to do that, then bend your knees to do that. It's fine to be working with bent knees. Take care of your lumbar spine. And come back in. Take the ball in the hands, stretch the legs long away from the hands, come back in, ball between the ankles, wrists away from the ankles, and switch as you go out. Come in, switch the ball, and come in, switch the ball. Keep thinking of the center channel. The ball's reminding you to hug in, to think of that center line, and come back in. Release the ball, hold the knees in towards the chest and circle them wide and back together again. Circle them the other way. Fluid, three-dimensional breath. Holding the knees, circle around to the left, down to the tailbone, to the right and around. Feel the perimeter of your sacrum. Know this as the center arrowhead at the bottom of your spine. Your spine grows out of this sacrum. Take your circle the other way. The sacrum has joints. When we're young, still kind of has memories of those joints. Hug the knees in. And float the legs up, hands behind your head. Exhale, lift your right elbow, lengthen the right knee. Now really lift that elbow skyward, lift that shoulder, lift that rib cage, rest the head back, and think of your center channel. We're not trying so hard to get the elbow to the knee that we're throwing the head way out of line. We're keeping that center line active as we lift the left elbow, rest the head back. Keep the line through the spine to the pelvis, and lift, and lift. Know where your center channel is and let yourself twist around it, waking up your obliques as the left rib reaches for right hip pointer and right rib reaches for left hip pointer. Keep the spine, the channel of the spine long, but let the obliques do their work. We want long, strong obliques. Keep the channel long. So pubic bone and tailbone kind of reach away from the crown, even as we twist around the spine. And come back to center. Release the head and float one foot to the floor and then the other. Bring your arms into robot arms. Press the pillow out and lift into your bridge. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw. Draw the pelvic floor into the body. Feel the length of the center channel all the way up through the skull and through the crown. Take another inhale. Exhale, feel through the center channel down your legs. Lower the pelvis, reach for the ball, place the ball between your legs. Come back up into your bridge. Hug into the ball. Activate the banks of your river. Lift the pubic bone, lift the tailbone, lengthen the pubic bone and tailbone away from the sternum and back spinous processes of the upper back. Take the pelvis long away from the shoulder girdle. Now lift the right hip and lower. Lift the left hip and lower. So now you're hugging the banks of the river. Might be a little harder to lift and lift and lift and lift. Use your glutes. Use the banks of your river. Movement doesn't have to be big. Feel into the work. Back body is now working. We did lots of front abdominal core. Now hello back. Feel broad across your shoulder girdle, strong down your humerus bones, and let the hips move and move and move, even as the legs are aware of the midline. Come back to center and pulse straight up, rooting the four corners of each feet. We pulse 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8, and lower the pelvis down. Take a deep inhale. Straighten one leg out like we did before, still hugging the ball. Broad across your shoulder girdle. Root into the left foot. If this ends up being too much for anyone, come back to both feet. Hug in the banks of your river and lift the pelvis. And lower the pelvis. And lift the pelvis. And lower the pelvis. Lift and lower. And lift and lower. And lift and hold. Feel the center channel. Balance the hug of the hips and release. Step the next foot to the floor, straighten the other leg, hug the ball. Broad shoulders, long arms. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw. Activate the pelvic floor, the transverse abdominis, and lift and lower and lift and lower. Lift lift and lower. Feel that center channel, lift and lower, all the way through the crown. And lift and hold, hug the midline. Feel the length of your spine, lengthen it a little more. And lower back down. And bend the knee. And release the ball. Take it underneath the body. Make sure you're not on your pillow or you're on a lower pillow. You can use a block under your pelvis instead of a ball if that's better for you. Thumbs to your low ribs, middle and ring fingers to your hip pointers. Make sure you're not overarching your lumbar or cervical spine. Float the right shin to tabletop, the left shin to join. Hug the legs together. Feel the outer banks of your river. Feel the glutes hug in. And open the left leg out to the left and pause. Now feel for a balanced center channel, even though you're working the left shoulder and that myofascial sling to the right buttock. And come back in. Open the left leg to the left. Feel the right shoulder to left buttock, but also feel your center channel long. You're not overworking the muscles of the neck or jaw. Come back in. Open both legs around center channel and come back in. Try to keep your square still. This is another place we support the spine, low ribs to hip pointers. Come back in this next time, hug the center channel and open your right leg to the right. And come back in, right leg again. And in, keep the left leg still. Move the right leg around the center channel. And come back in. Now left leg out. And in. And out. And in. Feel how you stabilize to create the evenness. Open both legs. And in. Both legs. And in. Both legs. And in. Now keep the left leg still. Straighten the right leg out at your 45-degree angle. Come back in. Left leg out. Keep your square still. Reach the leg long and come in. Long and in. Long and in. Everything still except the moving leg and maybe your smiling face. Reach and in and reach and in. Now you can stay with one leg or try two and in and two and in. Keep your heels together. Try for a Pilates V as you go out. Reach and in. Keep the square still and in. One more and in. Open right leg overhead, left leg long and come into your bicycles. Fluid breath. Take a three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw. Feel the center channel as you bike. Bicycle backwards. Feel for a smoothness radiating out from that center channel. And then rest with both legs up. Broad shoulders, neck relaxed, jaw relaxed, eyes falling back in their sockets. Open into your Pilates V, find your outer banks, the inner channel, and open the legs wide as the mat. Heels come down together and up. Point the toes. Point the toes. Feel the legs radiating out from the pelvis, but moving in relationship to the center channel. Now come to the top, go down the center, up and around. Feel the spine long out from that center channel of the legs, helping stabilize the legs' movement. And come back in. And bend your knees. And float one foot to the floor and the other. Lengthen one leg out, reach the arms overhead. Stretch. Fluid, three-dimensional breath. Step the left foot in, lengthen the right leg out. Or your other side. Fluid breath. Try to release the inner thigh away from the navel so that you really get a good stretch in the psoas. Some of you may be more comfortable staying in the bridge. Some of you may want to lengthen both legs out. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale wherever you are. Exhale through your straw. Feel for the hug around the center channel. And then inhale and lengthen. Exhale, feel for the hug. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale, feel for the hug. And step the legs back in, lift up off your prop. Bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees open wide, bring your arms into cactus. And if the backs of the hands rest back, then just release. If they need to be a little up from the floor to be comfortable, then that's okay. Fluid breath. So we're not, let your backs of your hands rest towards the floor as far as they're comfortably go. There's your external rotation of the arm bones. Wherever you are, lengthen out the humerus bones towards the elbow and slowly lift your hands back up, fingertips towards sky, palms towards the foot of the mat. Now take the head of your arm bones back. Press the length of the humerus bones back. Feel into waking up below the shoulders. So nod your head no. Don't overactivate the neck or the upper shoulder. Feel this from mid-shoulder, mid-back. Float the knees back towards center. Step the heels as wide as your sit bones. Pressing the whole length of your humerus bones back. Out from the center channel. Become aware of this crossbar beam. Feel how it crosses the center channel. Feel this crossbar beam of the arms in relation to your pelvis. Lift your pelvis, draw it away from the cross beam of the arms, set it down. Relax it heavy onto the floor. Float one leg into tabletop, keep the arms strong. Float the other leg into tabletop and open the legs wide. Pressing back with the arms, legs open wide. Feel these cross bars to the center channel. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen the spine. Draw the legs back to middle. Lift the arms towards the sky, palm facing palm. Float one foot to the floor and then the other. Lengthen one leg out as wide as your mat and then the other. Take the arms overhead in a V and lift the left foot. Lift the left leg just off the floor, stretch it out of the pelvis and lay it down. Lift the right leg, stretch it out of the pelvis and lay it down. Pause there. Take a few breaths, letting these bones rest into the hug of gravity. Now lift the right arm, lengthen the right arm out and set it down. Lift the left arm, lengthen it out and set it down. And feel how these limbs radiate out from the center channel. Follow the limbs back in through the shoulders towards the spine. Follow the legs back in. From the feet to the pelvis, to the lower dantian. Feel how the arms hug towards the heart, the legs hug towards the lower dantian. And from the heart and lower dantian, radiate out. Lengthen out each leg, each arm, out the crown of the head, out the tail. Now hug back in, integrate towards the center channel. And now radiate out. And hug back in. And radiate out. And hug back in. And radiate out. Even the head radiates out from the heart. And relax the body. Deep three-dimensional breath. Feel how the breath pulsates the fascia. And bring the arms back in. And the legs step back into constructive rest. And reach for your long TheraBand. Take your long TheraBand up over the left foot and find your pendulum. neutral lumbar curve, neutral cervical curve, broad shoulders, center channel. Now lift the left foot and draw a small circle, maybe the size of a medicine ball, not even as big as a Gertie ball. See if you can keep the right leg still as you circle the left. Circle it in towards the right at the top. And then pause at 12 o'clock and take it around towards the pinky toe side, circling. We always do pinky toe side second. Now, draw in on your TheraBand a little bit more with a straight leg and press the leg out into the TheraBand. Take it long towards the foot of the mat. Bend the knee in towards the chest and take it long. And let yourself ride a bicycle. Pressing out into the TheraBand. Think of lengthening out of the pelvis along your center channel. Keep lengthening through the crown. Let the length of the navel away from the reaching foot help you lengthen the lumbar spine as you're pressing into some resistance on the TheraBand. Keep the other foot steady, the other side of the pelvis steady, the shoulder girdle steady. And come back in. Switch feet. And begin with the pendulum. Can you stay aware of the banks of your river? Aware of the length of your spine and its neutral curves, the broad shoulders and broad pelvis. Fluid breath. It's a lot to be aware of, but as we continue expanding our consciousness, it becomes second nature to have this awareness. It's like we're building a map. And come up as high as is comfortable and draw your circle. Not quite the size of a Gertie ball. Keep the left foot steady, the left knee steady, the shoulders steady. Take your circle out towards the pinky toe side. How do you keep the steadiness? Maybe you're grounding the left shoulder, maybe the left hip. How do you make it steady for a fluid circle? Now, hold a little higher on the TheraBand. Draw your arms back down so there's pressure on the foot. Take the foot down and come in and ride your bicycle. Keep the left leg steady. Feel in as you press down through the foot, lengthen through the crown. Feel how even though you're asymmetrical, you can lengthen this beautiful spine. You can use the shoulders to help you create balance. You can lengthen the lumbar while honoring the neutral curve. Fluid breath. Let the spine bounce away from the leg that lengthens towards the foot of the mat. And come back in. Release the TheraBand and roll yourselves over onto hands and knees. Bring the TheraBand across the front of your mat. So now we're working asymmetrically with the center channel. So I'm bringing my hands off the mat. Oh, in an effort for you to see, let me put the screen so you can see my TheraBand. Okay. Hands on the TheraBand. Lift the right hand, turn the knuckles to the right. You're not going to break the wrist, so you're not bending the wrist a lot. You're keeping it as straight as is comfortable. Now, the TheraBand doesn't have to be super tight, and you don't even have to use it. Broad across your shoulders, lift the right arm. So if you have a shoulder injury, you won't use the TheraBand. Fluid breath, unless it's part of your strengthening regimen. Lift and lower. Now stay broad across the pelvis, broad across the shoulder girdle, and long in your center channel. Now lift the TheraBand and hold. Broaden the shoulder length in the neck. Reach out through the crown. Reach out long through the tail. Take a few three-dimensional inhales. Exhaling through your straw, find the length of the center channel. Beautiful. Release. Now take it to the other side. Holding the TheraBand, turn the knuckles out to the left. And as you're ready, find the lifting left shoulder blade onto your back body and lower. Long in the spine, broad across the shoulder girdle. Make sure your standing elbows and hyperextended. Fluid breath. Beautiful. Feel into stretching across the back of your shoulders. We're strengthening the back body here, and we're strengthening the obliques. Keep long in the center channel, aware in the banks of your river. Finding balance in the asymmetry, lift the arm. Play with how to create strength and balance. Still breathing three-dimensionally. And release. Inhale your cow. And exhale your hissing cat. Inhale your cow. And exhale your hissing cat. Now we're going to go into the front back balance work. Some of you may want to try this with your hand weights today. So you'll bring one hand weight out, and as you take, let's say, the right toes back, you'll bring the left arm forward and lift and lower. Now the challenge here is to stay broad across your shoulder girdle. And as you lift the hand weight, lift the leg evenly. So you're creating an imbalance because now you're lifting a weight with the arm. Can you stay true to the center channel? Can you keep the leg moving in relationship to its own center channel, toes pointing towards the floor, not lifting the limbs above parallel with the floor, keeping the neck open, the back of the collar released. Lift and hold. Lengthen through arm and foot. Breathe three-dimensionally into the torso. And release. Take the other hand weight out. Left toes back. Balanced on your left hand. Make sure your left elbow is safe. And as you're ready, exhale, lift the limbs. Inhale, release. Exhale, lift. Inhale, release. Hug in the banks of your river. Honor the center channel from pelvic floor to crown. Use your breath. Feel across the cross beams of your back. And lift and hold. Can you keep the back of the neck long? And release. And inhale your cow. And exhale your hissing cat. And roll your toes under and float up to downward dog. Fluid breath, walk the dog. If you can't come into dog, come into dolphin. Fluid breath. You can stay with walking the dog, or you can activate the crossbeam of your shoulders down into your arms, long neck, crown releasing towards the floor. And you can float one leg up behind you. Still feel for the symmetry along the center channel. Feel for the symmetry between the legs. And lower the lifted leg. Rooting that foot, lift the other side. Keep the crossbeam of the pelvis even. You're not going to throw the lifting leg way up behind you and tilt the pelvis. Keep those crossbeams long. And lower the leg. And float forward into a plank. You can come into a low leg plank or a high leg plank. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor into the body, lengthen through the crown. Feel the banks of your river. Step your feet a little wider and bring your heels together. Hug in the inseam of your legs. Take an inhale. Exhale. Hug the legs together, zipping up the inner thighs. Lift the pelvic floor. Reach out through the crown. Three-dimensional breath. And roll back again into downward dog. And step your feet forward. And bend your knees. Come into standing child's pose. Your torso rests on your legs. Fluid breath. Those of you who have the flexibility will begin to reach your sit bones for the sky and release the crown towards the floor. Those of you that don't have that flexibility, you may want blocks under your hands and lengthen the spine parallel to the floor. Breathe space between each vertebrae wherever you are. Reach for your props and move them out of your way. Bend your knees, float up to Utkatasana. Hands to the heart, press the palms together. Feel the shoulder banks of your river, the armpit banks of your river, the rib banks of your river, the side waists, the hips, the outer edges of the legs and feet. Feel up the side necks to the ears, the temples, and come to standing. Feeling the banks of your river, press the palms together in front of the center channel. Take a deep three-dimensional inhale. Exhale, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen through the crown, lift to one toe. Lift the knee and see if you can circle. 2, 3, and step down. Lift to the other toe. Banks of the river alive, lift the knee and circle. 2, 3, and step down. Lift to the first toe, turn the knee out. Hug in the banks of your river, feel your center channel and circle. 2, 3, and step down. Lift to the next toe. Take the knee out. Lift and circle. 2, 3, and step down. Release your arms. Inhale, float up your hands. Reaching with both hands, root both feet. Fluid breath. Close the eyes on the front of your head. Look out the eyes on the back of your head. Feel the back of your spine. Feel the backs of your legs down into the heels. Feel up from the inner heel, up the inner backs of the legs, up the sides of the spine, through the ears. And open into your cactus. Step your feet wide, turn the feet out and bend your knees. And exhale, bring the pinkies around front. Circle the arms around the center channel. Feel how you're grounding through the legs from the center. Let your arms draw a circle around the center, like your spine would be the center ring of the tree. Your legs, the roots, deep into the earth. And as you bring the arms open again, spread the fingers wide, lift the arms wide. Take a few three-dimensional inhales. Exhale through your straw, lift the pelvic floor, lengthen through the crown. When you breathe in, feel the rib rings expanding like the tree is growing wider. Staying here, see if you can lift your heels and lower. Lift and lower, lift and lower, and lower, and then press up. Release your arms to your sides. Step to the right edge of your mat. Make sure your props are out of your way. Come into your Pilates V. Oh, let's lift our hand weights for this last one if you want to. Okay, so this is really nice work at the end for center channel awareness. So we're standing to the right of our mat. We'll bring our hands up towards our shoulders. And we will float across to the left side at our diagonal and come back. Now, can you keep that center channel long and hinge from your ankle? Can you keep broad across the shoulder crossbar? And can you keep that channel really long from the inner heel of your back foot all the way up through the pelvic floor along the spine, and extend the arms and back and float and back. Try not to break at the hip. Try to keep a long line even if you take a smaller step. Fluid breath. Reach and back. Float forward and back. And notice how you can move at a diagonal, just hinging one joint in a way, and keep that center channel center to the movement. Fluid breath. Become the figure skater, the gymnast, floating through space. And one more time. And step back. Step to the left edge of the mat. Ground yourself and feel the center line. Zip up the inner thighs. Lift the pelvic floor, lengthen through the crown. Hug in the banks of your river. Remember, it's a hug, so you're not stiff. And then we lean right and float and lean and float. Our heart still lifts. The front of the neck is long, but we're not throwing the ribs forward because we're keeping the Pilates square strong. And to lengthen the arms and back. Reach and back. Long and back. Fluid and back. Feel the strength and awareness. Your banks, your center channel, your length, your strength, and float back and release the arms and release the hand blades and pause in your Pilates V and zip the legs together and pat the outer hips and hug them towards center line and let the arms lift. And just pause wherever it's comfortable for your arms and integrate the arms towards the center channel. Take a three-dimensional inhale. Exhale through your straw and standing on one foot, lift the other, either into kickstand or vrksasana. Hug the midline. Lift the arms, lift the gaze. And exhale, hands through the heart. Release the foot. Open the arms, feel the center channel, hug in the banks of the river. Lift to the other toe. Perhaps into vrksasana on the other side. Fluid breath. Keep your consciousness of that center and root to rise. And exhale, hands to the heart. And let's inhale in. A wonderful Wednesday for all of you. Thank you.